25 minutes past 8. Welcome back to the Great British Breakfast. Now, a 10-year drug strategy announced by the government will allocate £780 million to fund drug treatment across England. It includes money for rehabilitating 300,000 problem drug users who reportedly carry out half of the amount of robberies, shop thefts and burglaries in the country. £300 million is also being put towards tackling 2,000 county line drug gangs.
Chris Love is the Director of Admissions of Help Me Stop, a rehabilitation centre. So, good morning to you. What material change does this policy shift offer to addicts? I mean, is this something you think is a positive step?
Very much so, yeah. We're very much encouraged by the language used in the report. Whilst the government is still regarding this as a criminal justice issue, we're encouraged by the tone, the language, and the move away from a harm reduction strategy. We absolutely understand that you cannot prescribe and punish your way out of this problem. So to talk about developing a world-class treatment and recovery system is a very encouraging move indeed.
You're echoing what others have said, that actually the focus on protecting and trying to look after the people through rehabilitation actually might be a very effective strategy. What do you also make about this idea to try and break up the county lines sort of drug channels going out to rural communities?
As an organisation, it's very difficult for us to have an opinion on that particular topic. As I say, addressing it as a criminal justice issue isn't going to solve the problem. We understand that a large percentage of people suffering from substance use disorder or substance misuse disorder are also suffering from mental health issues. So by taking an all-encompassing approach to resolving the problem and treating the people who are suffering from the issue is a much more effective approach. And where we're really encouraged by this report is when we get into the third chapter, where we start to talk about treatment and recovery rather than focusing on the issue as being a criminal problem.
Do you get the sense that maybe for the first time for an awfully long time, there's a government that sort of gets this?
It certainly seems to be the way, yes. I mean, by acknowledging that historically there has been a lack of accountability, there's been a massive shortfall in funding for detox and rehabilitation, let alone recovery support being massively underfunded. By acknowledging the previous shortcomings and acknowledging the report of Dame Carol Black and the significant findings in there, it certainly seems on face value that this is a significant move forward.
To what extent does making it more difficult for people to access drugs help your job?
Again, in our experience, and to draw on personal experience as a recovering addict myself, there will always be people who are supplying substances. The people who are dependent on substances will always find ways and means of sourcing substances. What we need to get down to is the root causes and conditions of the problem and provide accessible and appropriate treatment for these people so that they can again become productive members of society. That's the key issue as far as we're concerned.
So what's next for you? I mean, if the money is forthcoming, how does that translate into a forward step?
Well, there are many ways of accessing treatment. The historical model has been very much dependent upon residential addiction treatment by removing somebody from their community for a short period of time and providing them with support. As an organisation, Help Me Stop are pioneering a new approach to addiction treatment by adopting intensive outpatient programs whereby we can treat people at a much lower cost. We can address the issue whilst people remain in the community. And all evidence points towards that if we can support somebody whilst they are addressing the challenges that they will inevitably face in their life once they complete a stint in treatment, that the outcomes are much more favourable. So we understand that there are many, many ways to address this problem. Residential treatment is not the only solution. The important thing is to identify the appropriate treatment for the individual. And also to acknowledge that 67% of drug users are actually in employment. This is not just about supporting people who are engaged in the criminal justice system. We have to understand that this is a chronic condition and acknowledge addiction as an illness and treat it as such, and try and remove the stigma from the problem. So we're very pleased to see that this is on the front pages, that this is being discussed, and that we can move away from it being so stigmatised.
Chris Love from Help Me Stop, it's good to talk to you. Thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you.